What's going on, everybody? This is your buddy Scooby here, back with another artist interview, and today we got McFrog with us. How you doing, McFrog?
Good, man. How about yourself?
Oh, doing great, doing great. We're doing this a little late in the evening, but that's all good because that's when the vibes are the best.
Hell yeah, it feels good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. So, to get this started, let's go over the two cards that we have available to us in Tabletop Simulator that were illustrated by McFrog himself. So, we're just going to go over this quickly. On the left, we have a promo Dr. Diddle Specs, and on the right, we got a WTF Horror House Puff Cemetery. So, to get this started, which one of these two was your favorite to create?
Ooh, I'd probably say Puff Cemetery. The inspiration for it was super cool. We kind of got led to be inspired by like original old school movie art, like poster art. So that was really fun to do. And I was a little bit more experienced with the digital art medium that I'm using versus the Dr. Diddle specs. But yeah, both were fun.
Alrighty, alrighty. So tell me, what is your origin story? How did you first get involved with illustrating for trading card companies, and is LolCow the first?
Yeah, so it is the first that I've illustrated for. I actually got involved. I met Tuffy playing another trading card game a few years ago and just stayed in touch. And when LolCow started taking off, I was also starting to just be a little bit more active with my art and stuff. So me and Tuffy reconnected and ended up being able to work out a couple things for artwork. And yeah, the rest is history.
Was that actually MetaZoo where you met Tuffy?
Yeah, I met Tuffy and Metazoo. We played against each other in like a couple of the first TTS tournaments and stuff of the old Metazoo. And then a couple times actually saw each other in person. He judged the water tower that I played at, stuff like that. So I met him back in the old Caster Society days and then just kind of stayed friendly throughout the years. And a couple years later, LolCow took off. And yeah, we got involved through the Diddle Specs promo. That was my first piece. I'm excited for what we have in store coming up.
Wow, that's actually really cool. You're the second person that I am aware of that has met Tuffy through MetaZoo, you and Bendy being the two. So that's actually really cool. What does your creative process entail when you're designing a trading card illustration? Do you usually like to start with your characters or your backgrounds?
I would probably say characters, unless there's something prompt worthy or super noteworthy in the background. But I have, yeah, way more focus on the character most of the time, especially with the more recent LolCow stuff.
So, whenever you're doing these sketches, are you actually doing this on paper or are you a digital artist?
All my LolCow stuff has been digital. I just started a little over a year ago with the digital medium. I was more of just like a casual doodler beforehand, and I always liked drawing and stuff, but never really took it seriously. And then getting a tablet just kind of made it easier for me to experiment with like brush types and a bunch of different ink styles and all this sorts of stuff without having to actually do that in person. So I'm still fairly new to it, but I'm digital.
Do you feel like that has just allowed your creative freedom to just expand massively?
Yeah. I mean, just in a practical sense, like I don't have to lug around, a kit with me. I can just, take a tablet around with me and I can go draw like in nature and stuff very easily. It does have its limitations, but I also like it for sizing and being exact with things. So it's been nice.
So, speaking of creative freedoms, whenever you're giving an illustration, how much creative freedom do you actually have? Are there any specific guidelines that you have to follow?
Well, most of the time I've had pretty free reign on the art, I'd say. I've had some direction, like the inspiration for the horror house set was given to us as a theme sort of thing. Like this is what we want it to feel like. And then the LolCow Live podcast stuff is a little bit more directive, and that has a slightly separate process from the LolCow trading card stuff that's not associated with the podcast. But yeah, we're pretty free. Most of this was just my concept that just got approved right away. So I didn't have much alteration to do with these pieces.
Oh, awesome. So, given a card's small size, are there any challenges whenever you're trying to maximize the amount of detail that you're trying to convey?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I don't know if like paper might be better or worse for that. The thing I do notice is depending on like the amount of intricacy you want to have and the amount of layers and stuff that you want to do in your artwork, you'll run into like pixelation issues, especially if you want it to also look good blown up. So I'm still also new, so maybe that's a user error on my point. Yeah, there is some issues getting the size right, and in the first couple it was tougher, but I think the digital makes it easy. I can just, choose the pixels I want to be fairly exact, and as long as it looks all right, it should print well. So
Oh, very nice, very nice. So, can you tell us about a card illustration that you are particularly proud of and why? It could be either one of these two on the screen or maybe another sketch that you have in mind.
Yeah, I'm probably proud of, I guess right now it's Arnold fan art from the Arnold Classic from Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it's more like a comic book take, I guess. That's one of my favorite ones. It was just kind of out of my normal style that I would choose and ended up liking it a lot. So I like my Arnold fan art that I just did recently.
Is that the one that you just sent me?
Yeah, I sent you two. There's like a statue looking one, and then there's one with a dragon involved. And
Oh,
both
yeah.
of those I like for their own respective reasons. But yeah, those are cool. Was potentially and still potentially going to be picked up with LolCow stuff. That was just something that was in the works and is potentially still in the works, but it's already up on my Instagram. So it's already out there. And it's just something I liked that I've worked on.
So, have you actually snuck in any Easter eggs into any of your sketches?
Yeah, I have a little signature that I try and sneak in, which I won't give out right away, but if people can find it, sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's more difficult to pick out. In some of my fan arts and stuff that I've done, like the Dr. Diddle specs is the only one for LolCow, but for some of the fan arts that I've done, I like to make it like a notebook background, like a legal pad, which is what I used to doodle on a lot. I took a little phrase. I think I might have taken it from like Captain Underpants or something when I was a kid. It's just this school stinks with like a little turd drawn and some flies going around it. And I used to draw that on all of my little doodles in like elementary school. So I've put that in a couple of my pieces.
So, what is it like seeing your artwork become part of a game that fans such as myself like to trade and collect?
It's super exciting and it's kind of a unique feeling because I'm a collector myself. I'm a TCG player and collector. I started with Pokemon back in the day, as most of us did, and still have my original Pokemon set to this day. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of surreal, I guess, because I like it as a collector and as an artist, it kind of feels like immortalized a little bit. But I just hope people get use out of them. And I know a lot of people don't like them. And I just hope some people do. And it gives some people some joy, or if they're funny or just fun to play with at the least, then that's all I could hope for.
Do you currently see any trends in trading card art that you would like to implement in any of your own future illustrations? This could be maybe from a different trading card game or even your fellow locale artist.
Yeah, there's like this really kind of like rugged style of like old comics, like Calvin and Hobbes almost, where it's a lot of line work and like subtle colors. I kind of like that style. And I've also seen a couple styles, mainly in tattoos, but it's like a real blend of like comic book art, text, either realism or like hyper realism. So it's exaggerated realism with like a crazy font or a crazy, ink blot or flowers or whatever thrown in that kind of wouldn't traditionally match the same style. So I kind of, yeah, just like blending styles and just experimenting as I go at this point. I'm still new to all of this stuff. So I'm just figuring it out at this point.
So how long have you actually been an artist for locale? Has it been like longer than a year, less than a year? How long would you say?
Yeah, around a year, I believe at this point. Time flies. It was a couple months before the release of the Diddle Specs promo is when I came on board. So
So have you ever played locale yourself with any of the cards that you have illustrated?
I have not played with the cards I have illustrated. That's on my bucket list for sure, and I'll be sure to get some games in here sometime. You'll have to show me the ropes, and I mean, I play other card games and stuff, so I'll take to it fairly easy, I'd hope. But you'll have to beat me up a couple times, and I can throw in some of my cards and we can play.
Yeah, it's really fun. I actually use the Puff Cemetery with my Cobes decks, so that card gets used quite frequently for me.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there's some recursion there, right? I mean, I've read it a lot, and I kind of would know how it would play, but I'm glad that they're playable or semi decent at least.
Oh yeah, very good abilities. So, do you have any advice for any aspiring artist who want to break into trading card illustrations specifically?
I honestly don't know if I could provide any decent advice for people. I feel like I kind of lucked out in this scenario and I'm still new to it myself, but I'm kind of enjoying trying different styles and just kind of seeing what I come up with, kind of what comes out when I just experiment a little bit. Yeah, I would just say like if the trading card game is willing, just incorporate as many different styles as you can. I think it's fun to kind of not be bogged down by like, we need it to constantly have this appearance, or like this card needs to be this color palette because of its abilities or something like that. It's nice to have little free reign and throw a little bit of shit against the wall and kind of see what sticks.
Yeah. What is your favorite card of any LolCow set?
Of any set, mm, I really like the Dandy Danderson promo. I also like the Utter Island set as a whole, the Christian Stein, the alternate art that's like there's a pumpkin incorporated into that piece. I love the holiday alternates and some of that stuff. Those are some of my favorites.
Alrighty, McFrog. So, last question, best question. Are you currently working on anything for LolCow that we hope to see in any upcoming releases?
Yeah, I have a couple pieces that I didn't show you, and I'm hoping that will be released with some of the LolCow live stuff that's coming out soon. There's also a piece that I did send you that I believe will be released in a set and potentially as a standalone promo for charity. That is another version of Puff that I'm sure you'll show on the screen.
That one looks very nice. And this was done digitally, correct?
Yeah, that was actually I did that piece before the Puff Cemetery actually. But there's a couple pieces that I'm working on still that I'm excited about that I won't say much about, and there's some that are semi-announced and formally announced that are exciting as well.
Well, everybody, you heard it here first. I just want to thank you, McFrog, for coming out, and I really do appreciate you for giving me this opportunity to interview you.
Hell yeah, no problem, Scooby. I appreciate you. And actually, on a quick side note, I did want to mention that people asking to get cards signed and stuff is very flattering. And you were the first person to ask me and send me in the mail, and you left a little note, and it just said something super simple like "Thanks for signing these" or whatever, Scooby. And I saved that before you reached out about this interview or anything because it was just a little sentiment to keep. And yeah, it's very cool to talk to you.
Oh man, I had no idea that it had that much impact.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's cool when the fans reach out and say that they like your stuff, and yeah, probably the best part of the gig. So I appreciate it.
I'm very, very pleased that I was able to give you that. So, and in turn, you're giving me an interview back. So I guess it all works out, doesn't it?
Hell yeah.
Alrighty, well, thank you, sir. And to everybody for coming out to the video, we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.